any opportunity where we can take advantage of two-factor authentication, we do.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the InfoSec Beat podcast. I'm your host, Kris Burkhardt, broadcasting from the Nick Price Memorial Underground Subterranean Faraday Cage in our top secret location. Today, I've got my guest, Steve Zutovsky, with me. Steve, among other things, leads our change and deployment group in information security at Accenture. And today, I'm going to talk to Steve about security in his house. He often has to relate to other people and explain to them why security behaviors are important and talk all about them. So, Steve, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kris. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you could make it. I'm interested, given the fact that you talk to people all the time about their own security behaviors. I'm interested to hear about security in your house. So can you tell us a little bit? I know you've got a couple kids. You're married. So it's not just you. What does your home network look like? What kind of devices and services do you have?
Yeah, it's probably not as sophisticated as I would like because my wife is a technology Luddite. So she wants to do everything herself. She wouldn't even let me set up. You can, with my printer, you can set something up with HP where it monitors your levels of ink and it sends you new cartridges when you need it. I was like, that would be great. We're out of ink every month because she won't let me, right? So she kind of is a good constraint, or you put some controls over what we can do. But I've never really thought about it.
So security by marriage is
exactly,
your recommendation.
Right? Yeah, she wants as few things connected as possible. But when I stop and think about it, there's a lot of things connected that I've never actually tried to count. But if I think about it, so we start with just one family workstation. Then we've got a couple work laptops we'd connect, a handful of iPads and phones. Then we've got smart TVs, Apple TVs, so a handful of those. We've got a centralized alarm system that is connected to a third party so we can monitor and manage it via our phones when we're not home.
Okay.
We've got one of those video doorbells, a Ring video doorbell.
Right.
And a couple of other Ring security cameras around the house, right? So one for the garage and one, a couple of other areas that are all connected and accessible. A couple of Xboxes and, some Sonos speakers.
Right.
So in a few different rooms. So I think that's and a Google Home.
That's a lot.
Yeah, one Google Home. So,
that's a lot, but maybe that's not so atypical. I as you were saying all those things, I was thinking to myself, I have most of those things, and a lot of the people I know have most of those things, and many have more. What is your strategy to keep all of those things secure so that they are providing security for you instead of against you?
Right. Yeah, I think there's a few basics. So one is obviously anything that comes out of a box with the default password, you want to change the default password. I use a password manager to keep all the passwords straight, and I love what the password manager does for me. We've got firewalls. We've got Malwarebytes, which is a product that helps identify and remove different types of malware if we're exposed to it. I know if we talk about my kids down the road, I actually spend a fair amount of time with them on some behavior things to make sure that they don't turn into an attack vector in our own house. And then I'm also thinking about doing some things with our network, which I haven't done yet, which we could probably go into in a little bit.
So I really want to hear more about the password manager. I'm a fan as well. Before we do that, so you do have, I heard a few devices. You've got at least one Google device, a couple Apple devices, an Amazon device with your Ring. Are you concerned about your privacy? We've heard in the news recently about contractors listening in ostensibly to make the devices work better. What are your thoughts?
Yes and no. I'm always shocked frequently when you're talking about something and then you go and say, well, I'm going to go look that up, and how quickly Google search engine narrows down on exactly what you want.
It's kind of scary, isn't it?
They either have their artificial intelligence must be just unbelievable, right, in their algorithms, but it just makes me wonder, right? And I don't, we didn't talk about Siri either, right? But we'll be talking about, I wonder what the weather's like in Barcelona, right, this time of year, as an example. And then you type Barcelona W, and the next thing that comes up was weather, right?
Right.
I mean, it just is.
Or you the ad that pops up for Barcelona vacations.
Yeah,
right?
There's that too, right? There's all kinds of things where it's clear, even though you're not, do not track, this, that, or the other thing, where we've opted out, where somehow someone is using that data to serve up ads, for things that we haven't, really said we wanted to be served. There's a TED Talk that I'd highly recommend. It's called "What Your Devices Know and Share About You." And so it was like two people in an apartment for a couple of days, and they put in some monitors and sniffers for all the traffic that was going back and forth within their apartment and outside of their apartment. And it was pretty mind-blowing, right, in terms of the amount of information that's just flowing around. So your original question was, so is it a concern?
Right.
I think it's just life now. So, it's kind of like, is it a concern that you could get hit by a car? Right, or whatever. There's a lot of things that could happen. I don't think that, our house is that different from any other house where we have all kinds of dark secrets that we're worried about. So,
right.
It's just not something that I spend a lot of time worrying about.
Yeah, I have a similar kind of feeling about it. It's the good for me at least outweighs the bad, and it sounds like that's roughly where you are too.
Yeah, I think so.
So moving on, let's talk about password managers. I know you're a big fan, so why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah. So probably 2 years ago, I found one. I've decided I had enough problems with passwords and that I wanted to do something. I talked to you, did some research, picked one that sounded good, and I used Dashlane. I love it for a couple of different reasons. So one is it will suggest passwords for you. So that's easy. It just makes, that are hard to guess. It works. I use the paid version, works across multiple devices, and they have a browser version. So even if you don't have the agent installed on your device, you can still get to your passwords, and it will automatically log you into almost every site. It allows you to share your password if you need to with someone on a one-off basis. More interesting to me is it does a crawl of the dark web, and also somehow they maintain visibility into known data breaches. So they've given me messages before that says the password that you've used here at some site has been compromised before I've heard anything about the breach in the news or from the actual provider. And so their recommendation is to go change it. And although everyone's best practices don't reuse passwords,
right.
Even with a password manager, I still have some passwords that I've reused from time to time. And so what it'll do is to say, this password that you've used on this site has been compromised, and you've also used that same password with your same email address and all these other sites. You should go change them in all those places as well. So it's been really handy for that. It allows you to, even like payments, so when you're registering for something, you hit a button that puts in all your personal information for you. If you want to pay, there's a master password for your credit card. You put that in, and it layers in all the credit card information. There's a lot of productivity benefits to it as well.
It sounds really useful. I also understand we're going to, in the very near future, put out some guidance and a recommendation for those at Accenture.
Yep. I think, both for personal passwords, and then if anyone is managing multiple Accenture passwords or has trouble remembering as we force password changes, I think it's a great solution. The one thing is we don't want anyone to put client passwords in there unless a client specifically permit it. The other thing we do with passwords is worry about, in sites, is two-factor authentication. So any opportunity where we can take advantage of two-factor authentication, we do, whether it's banking, social media, email, just about anything at this point. I can't think of any significant website, service, et cetera, that we subscribe to or use that we don't have two-factor authentication built in, because to me, that's one of the ultimate protections. So even if your password's compromised, they don't have the second factor, they really can't get into your information.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I use it everywhere I can, and I find it really, it honestly gives me a lot of peace of mind. I have information with a lot of sites now, financial information, or I'll say purchasing capability, and knowing that there's a second factor there gives me a lot of peace of mind.
There's another use case around password managers that, unfortunately, because of my wife, I can't really take advantage of yet.
Your wife, the Luddite.
But my wife, the Luddite. But if you think about it, right, if you're married, right, your spouse, or you have kids, right, they all have passwords as well.
Right.
Something more to happen and you needed to get into their stuff. Without a password manager, you're kind of in a world of hurt.
Right.
But if everybody's using a password manager, it makes it a lot easier if you ever find yourself in that situation.
Right.
And I'm now responsible for some personal reasons for a lot of my mother's financial activity. So I just take all of her sites and dump them into my password manager as well, right? And it just makes it that much easier, right? So, I think that's really powerful now because these days, right, again, something happens, someone gets sick, hospitalized, et cetera. How do you pay the bills, right? It just makes life less complex.
You're not wrong. I mean, so much of our life is online now. If you can have that straightforward access for your loved ones, that's an important thing. So before we wrap up here, do you have any last words for our audience about security at home, whether it's your network or your data or your financial records or what have you?
I think just being aware. You can't just think everything's going to be okay. Like kind of healthy paranoia, is a good approach. I think, being aware of scams, right? I can't tell you how many times I get weird phone calls about,
sure,
this is the IRS or this is whatever, this is your last chance.
Right.
For whatever reason, I don't really get a lot of email scams anymore, but, there's some things there, know to look out for phishing indicators, know what those are. Make sure your family knows about those as well, because one of your kids doing something on your workstation could really cause a lot of damage if they make a mistake. And one thing I don't know that people always know that they should do is, I don't really like to click on links that anyone sends me, even if I'm pretty sure it's a good thing. I'll always go to the website. I'll type in the company's address, get there directly,
right. Sure,
and do it that way, as opposed to just following the link. Because the bad guys are so good now at spoofing websites, spoofing addresses, etc., that it's easier than anyone would like to fall for something. So if you're going, like if I'm going to Citibank, right? If I type in Citibank every time, I don't have to worry about, hey, someone sent me a link and there was a slight misspelling that I didn't notice because I was in a hurry.
That's a great point, and I think that's solid advice. Well, Steve, thank you so much for sharing your personal experience and your professional view on password managers and security and whatnot. And thanks for spending the time with me and my audience today.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, that's it for another episode of the InfoSec Beat podcast. And until next time, this is your host, Kris Burkhardt. Stay safe out there.